over.
Can't get it.
Shame, can't pick it up on the camera, it's too high up. As I say, to be able to share these experiences with you, to be able to see, you're basically living a ranger's life when you follow us on the jigger. Because when you visit it as a guest, you see a very, very small snippet. And sometimes you don't get the best views of the animals, sometimes you don't get to see the animals at all. At the end of the day, this is the wild. Oh, have a green wood hooper on the tree. Oh, just flew off. So we just had a virtual starling, and then I thought, that doesn't look like a starling. Got another green wood hooper flying over. Are you going to land? And there it is. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. I'll have a quick look. So yeah, as I say, if you just visit it as a guest, you kind of miss out a little bit. So what's great is that you guys can follow us, and you actually get to build up a picture and an understanding of the animals in the area. Like, that's what we do as we go through these drives. So we've got a beautiful green wood hoopoo here. Unfortunately, you can't see the bright red bill. The light's not quite right. But when the sun shines on them, they do have this dark green colour on them. Again, they do live as a small family, so there was another one flying over, but there may be 2 or 3 others around we don't see. You just about see that red bill there now. Oh, unfortunately, it just flew off. I'll keep a lookout for the rest of the family. Oh, okay, we had a bit of picture breakup there. Okay, I think we're okay now.
Yeah, and we turned the camera.
Ah. So if there's anyone just joining for the first time, oh.
And then I didn't touch it.
Oops. Yeah, there's a bit of breakup there.
Yeah, but I'm
Is it loose? That
no,
looks
it's
okay.
not.
Oh.
And I went like pinning to that bed up in the tree. That was the thing.
I think
It's
that's
got
what it
the
was.
cable
It seems to be when
moves
you move the camera.
slightly,
I think it
yeah.
pulls the cable possibly.
It does, yeah.
Okay, I think we're all right now.
Is it back now?
Yeah, it looks fine now. So if anybody does have any questions they'd like to ask, then you can email Kath in Final Control, and the email address is finalcontrol@safari.tv. Very, very easy to do. And you can just send your question through and I can answer it live for you as we're driving around looking for the animals. And any of the tracks that the animals have left behind. I'm just going to stick fairly close to Gowrie now, to try and keep the signal good. And the plan is we're going to go up Gowrie, maybe take the Firebreak Road down onto Mvubu and have another look around quarantine area, because remember we left, I think was it the 2 boys around there last night, Patrick?
Yes.
Cool, so we left the 2 boys around there. And this morning, about roughly 9:30, 10 o'clock, we had the impala snorting quite quite a lot. Possibly the leopards were around there, so I want to have a good look around there anyway. And see if we hit it lucky with them. So unfortunately no update on the lions. It sounds like the Styx Pride who have been coming through here have moved off. And I was told that the 9th lioness from the Styx Pride, who we haven't heard from for a while, apparently she's confirmed that she's pregnant, and I think it sounds like she's still down in Mala Mala, so that's great news that the Styx Pride, it sounds like, are still 9. We've got one pregnant fairly young lioness and the other 4 lionesses, and then we have the 3 young lionesses with the 1 young male, who are all roughly around 2 years old. So that's great news.
The radar's been quiet, yeah?
Yeah, it is, eh? And just to show you, remember I was telling you about we can just have a look at the Combretum up ahead of us.
Last station, go again, please.
And I was talking about the large fruity bush willow, and I was also saying about it being a relative of the leadwood, which is the Combretum imberbe, and this is one of the Combretum imberbes, the leadwood. So the trunk is pretty distinctive. You've got the very dark grey bark and sort of fairly deep grooves in it, and the leaves are fairly small. They've got quite an undulating edge to them, a bit like the English oak, but sort of more wavy rather than sort of going in and out on the leaf. Can't really think of what you'd call it, sort of being not shelled. But if you can sort of imagine an oak leaf that goes in and out on the sides, then it's kind of undulating on the sides of the leadwood leaf. A very, very useful tree, a very hard wood, and as Kathy says about the large fruity bush willow, the Combretum zahiri, the wood is very good for firewood, and this wood is also very good for firewood. Very, very good for toothpaste. You can take the ash from the fire in the morning, mix it with milk, and you've got yourself some toothpaste. Although I'm always a little bit skeptical about that one, because it can also be used as a whitewash. You can paint fences with it. So if you can whitewash your wall, you're going to be putting it on your teeth. I suppose it would bring them up very nice and white. A very hard wood. It used to be used for the brake pads of a wagon for the wheels, and railway sleepers as well. It would be used for. It's a very, very sturdy wood. Very long-lived tree as well, up to about 1,000 years old living, and it can stand for another 100 years when it's dead. Very, very long-lived. I think we had a bit of a discussion the other day in the chat room, and I think on Jared's Drive, where there was some trees, I think they were called redwoods, over in North America, I think it was, and I think it was either in North America or in Sweden, and they were over 9,000 years old, which is absolutely incredible. What a beautiful tree. One that I haven't seen since my Bush Academy years. We didn't really get leadwoods on my old reserve, so it was like moving here and seeing an old friend again, which was absolutely lovely. And I must admit, when I first started, a tree was a tree. That side of things I was never really fully into. See, I love nature and everything, but it was more animals and the birds. And as a tree was a tree, I could never understand it. They all after, and I want to know the different species of tree. I started understanding how different they look and how to look for those differences and the medical uses and everything, and I just started finding it so fast, and it really opened up a whole new world to me that I never fully appreciated before, and that really was awesome. And then we go to Entebeni, 3-hour drive. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot we're on the line. Clear out. Should clear out.
Hi everyone, Catherine in Final Control again. We just seem to be going through another bad signal area at this point. So as soon as we can, we'll be back with the jigger, and hopefully everything will be sorted out.
Okay, welcome back again everybody. We're trying to make our way down towards Mvubu Road, but apparently we've got signal again. We thought we'd just quickly stop for the sunset. still see the heat haze. Copy, thank you.
Goodbye, son. Cheerio, son.
Another day coming to a close. That was beautiful, eh?
Gorgeous, yeah.
Beautiful. We did pick up some scat from the leopard, and it looks like there was one leopard that went down towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. Unfortunately, with the signal breaking up, we're not going to be able to make our way down that side. Cool. So we're going to continue on through to Mvubu Road and Gowrie Dam, and just see if we still have one of the leopards around there. Keep your fingers crossed. So we've been having elephant tracks all over. It's also unfortunately difficult to try and catch up with them this afternoon. But we are still looking. We may be lucky, we may bump into something. And I think we have a couple more questions coming through. Adjoy. Thank you very much for your question, Adjoy. Did it say where Adjoy's from? Okay. So Adjoy from the US. Just asking if any of the local villages, if the people are allowed to come and hunt and gather firewood and things like that in the area, because apparently the villages up by the US are allowed to have some fishing and hunting in some of their, I think, some of their reserves or parks. I know there'll be a bit of a difference between your reserves and parks. I know there's one that people won't be able to and one that people will be able to. But thank you very much for your question. Patrick, you're probably the best one to answer it, because I'm still getting used to everything in this area. Are people allowed to...
That's a very big negative, Tara.
Yeah. I think in some areas people are allowed to still take firewood, but I think from the national parks, I think that is a no. And obviously Kruger being a national park, obviously Savi Sands, Patrick said no. But I think there are still some areas where the private game reserves will allow the villagers to go and take firewood and maybe small things like that, maybe fish, but probably not hunting. Not too sure further into Africa you go. But yeah, as I say, down here, no. Okay, we're now on Mvubu Road. The elephant dung smells fairly fresh. Okay, I got another question coming through. Okay, thank you very much for your question, Alan. And you're asking why is it that elephants can swim and hippos can't? And you said that your girlfriend went to the local zoo and saw the hippo swimming. I'm not too sure how she saw that, whether there was a glass pane there or something, but generally hippos will walk along the bottom, and there's still a bit of controversy from what I'm reading whether hippos can make themselves buoyant or not. There was an article that was sent through to me a couple of days ago saying that this article reckoned that they could swim, and the change in buoyancy and that sort of thing, which would make sense. But if you read most articles and books, they all pretty much agree that the hippo will push up from the bottom, sort of maybe do a bit of a jump, and maybe that's what your girlfriend saw, I'm not sure. But I would say that they don't sort of swim because their legs are quite short. Sort of try and, sort of do a bit of a doggy paddle or something, I think they'd find it quite difficult to do, and that's possibly why it's said that they don't swim. With the elephant, obviously using their body and the legs, they can propel themselves through the water. But as I say, the more I read into hippos, the more I think maybe there is a bit of a a bit controversy, and that maybe they can swim. We just sort of underestimated them, or I don't know. I'd say just reading into this article, I thought that's the first time I've actually read an article that said that they could swim. But anatomically wise, I think it's probably to do with the legs. But maybe they do have an ability to be buoyant. Apparently they usually like depths of about 5 meters where they can submerge quite nicely, but obviously they can come up to the top of the water to obviously breathe and to keep a check on what's going on. So yeah, as I said, the article was quite an interesting one, and it would make sense. So I've often thought, how on earth do hippos sort of stay there, especially if it is fairly deep. And if it is fairly deep, then they tend to go for where it's deep, quite narrow water bodies. So that at least they can make it from one end to the other if they need to. But yeah, it is quite a wonder how they sort of manage to stay there, and they actually seem to be quite sort of well positioned, so it could be that they stand on the back legs and have a look like that. But I must admit, I'd love to see an elephant swimming, and it is possible, and especially where there's small islands where the elephants have been living, they'll actually swim between the islands, and that's how they populated the islands, especially the Asian elephants, and they use their trunks like a little snorkel. I think I've seen some awesome footage from the BBC, I think it was, and I think they're actually below the elephants, and they could actually see the elephant above them, which was pretty incredible to watch. So yeah, quite an interesting question, Alan. I'd be quite interested to know how your girlfriend saw the swimming, whether it was, as I was saying, pushing up from the bottom, or whether it was actually standing there and underneath the surface and actually doing the whole doggy paddle thing. And that really would blow a lot of what we've known out of the water. And just for those of you who are joining us, my name is Tara. I'm your guide for roughly about an hour or so now left of drive. We have Patrick on camera and Kath in final control, who's forwarding any of your questions through to me via the radio. So this is live, it's not recorded. Well, recorded for our archives, but it's not recorded and then edited and then sent out to you. So if you would like to send any of your questions through, it's finalcontrol@safari.tv. Okay, so we're back here at Gowrie Dam. Just having a look around, see if we can have any luck finding one of the two boys. And so we did have some leopard tracks going towards Buffers Hook Dam. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to follow up on those. So we'll see if we hit it lucky around here. And we had a lot of activity here yesterday morning. And apologies to everybody who was watching. I mis-ID'd the leopard in the tree. I thought it was Induna, because when I looked, the tail looked very cut off at the bottom, and it also, when I looked at the face, remember Mishu has quite a prominent Y next to his eye, and when I looked at the face, for some reason it didn't look very prominent at all, so it looked like Induna to me, but obviously Induna is quite clumsy in trees, and that should have really alerted me to the fact it wasn't Induna, but I thought, you know, maybe he's improved and he's got better at climbing. And just having a look down here in the drainage line, Andy Lane and a few others on Facebook said that they were also watching the guys this morning being chased by a hippo, or chasing the hippo I think it was, and seeing Mishu climb, and I think she also said maybe it was Mishu, and I had a look trying to ID again and having a look on the spots on the side of the body because the face wasn't really showing too clearly, and sure enough I matched them up with pictures of Mishu that I had before, so it was Mishu trying to catch a squirrel in a tree just over the way there actually yesterday morning. So thank you very much to everybody who helped point that one out, appreciate it, and as I say, I'd rather people say and we get the information right than not. I'm just having a quick look at the hippos and just trying to listen out for any birds or animals snorting to give the presence of a leopard away. It sounds fairly quiet. I'm going to make my way back towards Chelapan and drive up towards Quarantine quickly. We'll do a bit of a lap around Quarantine and then back down towards Twin Dam Road and onto Chelapan. And when we've lost too much light, we'll swap over the cameras onto the nice camera. There's some francolins calling in the background, but that's more the dusk call. Okay. I see, I could do that as well, but then we might just drive off the road. Alrighty, we have a question coming through. Hi Rolf, welcome aboard Jigger this evening, and you're from Wisconsin, and you'd like to know if anybody sleeps out in the bush. Yes, we do.